Hi everybody, it is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I'm here with another recommendation video, and it is my favorite witchy reads. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about some witchy reads today. We're going to talk about my favorites, and we're going to just get the first one out of the way because, I mean, you guys know it's coming anyway, right? It is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This is a phenomenal witchy read. This is perfect for October, even though this is set in June. So the Swan season is from June 1st till the end of June, and it is when the Swan sisters, who were killed 200 years ago at the time of this book, they were drowned off a coastal town of Sparrow. They come back every June to inhabit the body of young women on the island and lure men out into the water to their deaths to rectify them being drowned as being witches. It is so good. It is so atmospheric and dark and wonderful, and it goes over family and friends, and the vibe of this is so intense and so gorgeous. This is being made into a Netflix movie series. I'm not really sure which, but oh my gosh, I cannot wait for it. This was amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. I loved it so much, and I have never seen somebody that I recommended this book to that didn't also love it. I tabbed the heck out of it. Now own 3 copies. I own this copy, which I read and annotated, and this one, which is signed to me by Shay, and then the UK paperback, which is too gorgeous not to own, and I unboxed during my Booktubeathon vlogs. If you did not see that, you can go back and look at that. Then I have one that I also really enjoyed, and I'm surprised by how much I loved it, and that is Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Foley Doyle. This one I read, I want to say like a week after I read The Wicked Deep. So the fact that this stood out on its own after reading The Wicked Deep is like insane to me, but it is very different from The Wicked Deep, so I can kind of get it. This follows a timeline of friends that's this found family. Again, you guys know I keep saying it in all of my reviews and in all of my recommendations, like found families, these groups of friends that are so close that they actually do become family, are amazing to me. This one is set in Ireland. I know a lot of people were bummed because it didn't have enough like of the Irish vibes for them, but this one follows a group of friends in a contemporary-ish setting where these magical things start happening. A spell is done to find lost things, but in order for somebody else to get their lost thing, other people need to then lose them, and the spell kind of backfires and spirals out of control, and it follows these friends who all have little secrets and all have something to lose and something to find, and it is gorgeous and haunting and beautiful. They all have like wood themed names, so it's Hazel and Rowan and what's the other one? I think there's like a Laurel and Ivy. Anyway, has multiple POVs. It has female romances. It has a whole bunch of like different representation in it. It's gorgeous. It's like actually gorgeous. I think there's a curvy girl in this. I believe there's a person of color. It's been a little while. Honestly, I can't even stand it. It was so good. So I tabbed this and I annotated it, and I can't get enough. I really truly can't. It's a really good one. The one thing I will say is because everybody has like Olive and Laurel and Holly and Rowan, and there's all these like very earthy names. There's a lot of names. It takes a little while to get everything straight because there's also like 2 different timelines. Like you're following these journal entries of these girls and they all have a set of names, and then you're following this group of friends in the present and they have this group of names, and it took a little while to figure out who belonged to what storyline and timeline and friend group and how these people all interact, because they do all interact at one point. And it's hard to kind of keep everybody straight. Like, whose sister is that and whose friend is that? And then everybody kind of merges and you're like, oh, thank God, because keeping it straight was a little bit hard, but worth it. Like, absolutely worth it. This one is gorgeous and a perfect October read. Like, this is a great fall read. This one is technically set in summer, but again, like a fantastic fall read. And they are some of my favorite current witchy reads. Like, actually amazing favorites that live behind me now because they have to stay on my favorite shelf. So definitely check them out. One that is an arc, which is not out yet at the time of filming it, and I think will be out by the time I put this video up, but this one came out or comes out on August 28th, and it's Toyline Trouble, 15 Tales of Women in Witchcraft. This is an ARC version, and one of the stories and one of the authors has been removed. This one was edited by Jessica Spotswood, who wrote the Cahill Witch trilogy, and Tess Sharp, whom I have not read before, and it is gorgeous. Each of the stories is divided up top, and then I have tabs in the side for like ones that I really loved. I annotated it as I read, so it's like underlined, and I've got little thoughts in here. Some of the stories were better than others, but I really, really enjoyed this overall. So I do have a full breakdown of each story and the review and star rating on each story on my Goodreads. So I will have Goodreads linked for all of these if you want to go and check them out. I usually make my Goodreads reviews as spoiler-free as possible. And if I don't think I have individual reviews on any of these. So you can just check them all out on Goodreads. I'll have everything linked down below. But each of these stories was so impactful. It is a tale of witchcraft. This is not an easy book to read. A lot of these stories are deeply, deeply troubling. Go through a lot of triggers, a lot of sexual assault, a lot of abuse, and these women find their magic and their strength and their power to get them out of those situations, hopefully, in a lot of these stories. There's also a ton of diversity. There's a lot of female-female relationships in this book. These short stories in general were really, really gorgeous. So I hope you'll go check out my individual reviews of each story on my Goodreads review and check this one out. I'm assuming by the time this goes out that this is published, and I really, really hope that people are picking it up. So this is a fantastic one. Again, any kind of readathons that are going on in the October month, this will be a great one for it because the short stories are really easy to consume. And I ended up actually taking my time with this book and reading the short stories pretty close to one another, but I left myself time. Like I would read a story, put it down, go do something else, come back. So I read it pretty quickly, but I did give time between each story so that they each kind of stood on their own. I absolutely love it, and I will be getting a finished copy of it when the budget allows, but this one is phenomenal. And then we're going to get into some oldies but goodies. Mainly the Sweep series by Kate Tiernan. This is a bind-up of the first 3 books. No, this is the volume 2. Volume 1 is over there. They're so good. Like, this is how short each book is. So these bind-ups have a whole bunch in them. But this in general is an old series. So this is the first book, and it came out in 2001. And as of the time of this printing, it has 14 books. And then Knight's Child looks like a super edition. I don't know what that means. This follows a girl who, there's like a group of friends in school, and they've started this kind of a coven, and she realizes that witches are a thing, that magic is real. She gets interested in it. She starts dating a guy. Is he good? Is he bad? Who's good? Who's bad? Magic is kind of swirling all over the place. She's getting kind of into it, and it follows that. So this is a lot more of a tale of probably like a Wicca type of a situation as opposed to like a fantasy magic or a fantasy witch. This is a lot more contemporary based, even though there are fantastical elements to it. This is a really cool series. I was surprised for a 2001 book how well this stood up, and they're just fun. Like, they're really, really fun witchy reads. So if you're interested in a witchy read that's really quick, again, a great one for a readathon. Even the bind-ups are really fast. The characters and the plot are not too detailed or too insane, and they're just fun. Like, they're really fun reads. They're not masterpieces, but they're really, really fun to read. So if you're looking for like just a really cool witchy book, this is a really, really fun one. Give that one a go. I also want to shout out a couple of audiobooks that I really loved, which I don't have in physical copy, and that is Practical Magic and The Rules of Magic. I have listened to both of those, and I really, really enjoyed them. Practical Magic is obviously the story that we all know and love, and then The Rules of Magic is a prequel about the ants from Practical Magic, and I read that one most recently and remember that one the best, and I really enjoyed that one. Witchy, magical tale. It gives you all of the Practical Magic vibes, but with like a little bit of a throwback, a little bit of tragedy, a little bit of heartbreak, and a whole lot of love and family. I think that they're great reads, so that's always a great option as well. The Diviners by Libba Bray. So this series is actually about kind of these like demon evil that's kind of breaching our world, and this series of diviners who all have these magical powers in different forms. So Evie can read objects, Sam can kind of sway people to not see him. He's a great pickpocket. And then Memphis is a healer, and there's Henry who can dream walk, and everybody has this little magical power inside of them. So they're not classified as witches, but they're diviners. They have these powers, and I consider it to be, you know, somewhat witchy. There is like an oracle-ness to their vibes, and it's darker. I think this is a fantastic one that I will also mention in another recommendation series that is a great segue. So if you like thrillers, I think you're going to love this as a witchy read. If you like fantasy, I think you're going to love this as a witchy read. If you like witchy reads, I think you're going to love this as a witchy read. If you like historical fiction, I think you're going to like this as a witchy read because it's also set in like the 1920s-ish era. And I think that it's a crossover between so many genres that people are going to really enjoy, that this will be one a ton of people can really get behind. I have actually listened to all 3 of the books in audiobook form. The audiobooks are phenomenally done. So if you want to give this a go, it's huge. The audiobook is very long, but really beautifully done and a fantastic series. So I highly recommend this one for like that witchy vibe. And it's also just a really good vibe for like that witchy time of year. So like the October-y, you want something spooky, something really atmospheric, something dark, something that gives you like a little bit of chills. You're not really sure about it. This is the series for you. Like this will give you all of those fall, spooky, let me turn on a light kind of vibes. It's a great one. And then last up is going to be an amazing throwback and one of my favorite witch-inspired reads, like, of all time. And that's going to be the Hello series by Kim Harrison. You guys know I have talked about this a ton. This is an adult urban fantasy series. It does have some smexy time in it. This follows Rachel Morgan, who is a witch. This also has vampires and demons and were in it. So it definitely has a full fantasy vibe to it as opposed to just witches. But Rachel's a very, very powerful witch and spellcaster, and she can make all these potions and do this magic, and she's got this special breed of magic, of course, because don't all main characters. And she's badass. She's so amazing. And the cast of characters in this is amazing. We've got Ivy, who's her roommate and is an Asian vampire. We have Jenks, who is a fairy. A pixie? No, he's a fairy. Pixies are bad. And he lives out in her garden and is also one of her business partners. And then there's Trent, who remains unknown for the majority of the book series, like what his genetic background is, but he's kind of like the bad guy, but is he really? Oh, Biz is the gargoyle. He's amazing too. There's a lot of really great characters in this book, but it is adult. So if you're interested in a more adult as opposed to YA, urban fantasy, kind of gritty, dark, this is a really good one. And there's a little bit of smexy time in there too, so that makes it pretty awesome. That has been all of my witchy read recommendations. I think these are all fantastic for October and the spooky kind of vibe that you're in. But honestly, I had a hardcore summer witchy vibe like streak. I could not stop reading witchy books in the middle of summer, which doesn't necessarily make sense. I wasn't leaving myself a whole lot to like read in the fall when I thought I was going to want those things. I wanted them all during the summer, and I read a ton of them. So I really, really love these. If you guys have any other recommendations for me based off of these that are kind of witchy, definitely let me know down below. If you think I've missed something that I've already talked about and didn't put in this, let me know as well. I always get anxiety putting together giant compilations like this or recommendations like this that I'm leaving something out. Obviously, I haven't read everything, so something might get added to this, but these are just some of the recommendations that I had looking through my shelves today that I was really, really excited about and felt like fit a witchy recommendation list as opposed to just magic recommendation list. That is all I have for now. If you guys liked this video, I really hope you did. I hope you got some great book recommendations. Let me know down below if you have any recommendations for me or which one of these you're most intrigued by and want to run out and grab. As always, I want to talk to you down in the comments. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye guys.